Hey everyone, Eric Nelson here once again, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Well, I am back with another book review, which I will be reviewing Jade Kerrion's Perfection Unleashed. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my other book reviews, here's why I have a copy of the book cover on a piece of paper. I actually got this book on my Amazon Kindle, and the Kindle is on my laptop, which also has my webcam, but unfortunately I don't know all the pieces and all the these special technology stuff right now to kind of like insert the image through the webcam. So until then, I'm sticking to this method, the so-called old-fashioned method. And speaking of old-fashioned, or the opposite of old-fashioned, let's get back to the book. Now, I say that because this book is actually set not just in the future, but in the future that's so far ahead here, where many things are considered to be normal. Clones and mutants. So yeah, of course, we don't know when that's, when exactly, when will that happen? When clones and mutants will be accepted into society, but I think the general population, along with the author Jade Kerrion, can all agree that it won't be anytime soon. It will, and if it is soon, it will probably it will probably be at a time where probably when none of us will exist, maybe even probably 1,000 years from now. I don't know, but anyway, as I said, the book is set in the future where clones and mutants live among quote unquote normal people. Now, for all the comic book fans, no, this is not a comic. This is not a comic book novel. It is not a novel written as a comic book, and it's not a novel where there are no pictures, but when you read the words, you feel like you're reading a comic. You feel like you are reading a comic book. None of that. When you read this, yes, you do know that the main character and a lot of the supporting characters are clones or mutants, but you actually accept them as real people because how they express themselves, and when we get deep inside of their heads, we don't think of them as clones, mutants, or even superheroes. We just see them as normal people because their emotions are so human-like. It's like watching a cartoon where you see like an animal speaking in a human's voice, but it's not just that where you accept them as a human, it's because of how they express themselves. So anyway, Perfection Unleashed centers around a clone by the name of Danielle. Now, it's actually spelled as Danyel, and I assume that's how his name is pronounced. It just spelled differently. And as I said in other book reviews, I'm not that good with names. So anyway, it centers around him, and he is a clone, or he's a mutant actually, because he has the ability to be an alpha empathy, where he can feel people's emotions and also almost read people's minds. So but even though he has that special ability, he kind of sees it as a curse, and almost where he actually thinks it's not only ruining him, but ruining the people that he that he comes into contact with. Now, why he feels that way exactly, well, as I said, I like to do sort of like the sort of like a back of the book type reviews where you read the brief description on the back of the book. So I'll let you all read that, and and you'll know why, and not just because of that, but because there is a lot of twists and turns in this book. So anyway, as Danielle is going about his daily life, worrying about his special power, and going through what all the clones and mutants go through as they try to fit into the real world amongst the quote-unquote normal people, there's also well, there's also this other supporting character who actually looks a lot like Danielle by the name of Galahad, who actually lived thousands of years before the present time that this is set in. And as all of you may have guessed, yes, he is a clone, and he was actually a Chinese billionaire. And what his role is in the book, well, he's actually sort of like an assassin. Where now, who he actually works for, well, as I said, I'll kind of let you guys read that. So, but anyway, him and Danielle kind of get in each other's way, and Danielle, looking a lot like Galahad, kind of creates a lot of conflicts within the story, and of course there are a lot of conflicts between the clones, the mutants, and the quote-unquote normal people. So anyway, folks, that's it. As I said, this is not a comic book. I mean, there are a lot of similarities to certain comic book characters, and I saw a lot of this, not just in the book, but on Amazon too, where a lot of people on Amazon were sort of saying that like this is almost relatable to the X-Men series, where you have the mutants and clones. Well, there weren't a lot of clones in that series, but there were, of course, a lot of mutants, and people were comparing it to this. And yeah, I think it's a fair comparison, but I think that there's a lot more dramatic scenes in this book and less action. I mean, there's some action, but not where you would want to watch it, and where you would want to watch it and feel excited about it. So yeah, so anyway, and also the author Jade Kerrion, I think she did a really great job, by making mutants and clones more, by having them more human-like. And actually, I kind of as I read this book, I kind of forgot that I was reading about people with special abilities, and what reminded me is when I would be reading it, and then a reference to their special ability would pop up, and I would be like, well, wait, why can they do that? Oh yeah, because they're a mutant. So yeah, so anyway, you can get this book on your Amazon Kindle, like how I did, and also in paperback. This book is actually a best seller. So great job, Jade. So yeah, and you can also get it on the ebook, the iBook, and hopefully everywhere else. So I'll see you guys later, and I hope to see you all at the bookstore and the bookstore as well.